Hi there. Welcome to Apple Cinema.
Well, it looks like the film did an intro for me, so let's get to it. We're about to see what taking shelter in a theater during the apocalypse would actually look like in 2021's Apple Cinema. The creators were awesome enough to reach out to us and request we watch this, so here we go. Spoiler alert, this might be my opinion on the film, but links to the film are in the description below. Check it out for yourself. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe to help us get to that 100,000 mark before the end of the year. We open up on South and Coach going back and forth in the theater about how their friendship is so daunting on both of them, and Coach is about to freak out if South doesn't lower his voice. At first it seems like they're the only two in the theater, but after a closer look, we see that isn't the case at all.
We have neighbors. Why do you do this to me every time?
Well, someone has clearly lost their mind, so I'm hoping they've been in this theater for quite some time. Shortly after South gets up, Dr. Bobby gets on the screen to update the audience on the situation outside. And it's grim. As she tells people not to leave their shelter, something can be heard getting into her office and the signal is lost as she screams. After the opening credits, we jump to Coach, who is having a pretend conversation with Chris Evans and a trippy experience in what looks like his basement room. We see that he's a personal assistant to a well-known author and that life is terrible. Back in real time, a group of survivors are trying to figure out who runs out to bring Coach back to the theater, and after one of them goes, we see what they're hiding from. Zombies, and not the slow ones that you can literally just outwalk at a slow, steady pace. These are those sprinters that you actually have to pay attention to. When it comes down to zombie apocalypses, the fast zombies are the absolute worst option. As Coach gets ready to go back to Theater 6, we get a flashback to where he was when the outbreak occurred. And it doesn't really look like the zombies are the worst part of his life. Laid on bills, lonely, and constantly moving, it feels like the apocalypse was the best thing to ever happen to him. That is one of the most satisfying explosions I've seen in a movie in a long time. The visuals and the sounds pop and make you feel the impact from here. As the usher takes Coach to Theater 6, he finds South watching a movie, but when he's disturbed, he tells the usher that he doesn't appreciate the interruption. Once it's just the two of them, Coach tries to convince South that going outside is the most logical option.
Remember what happened last time we tried to leave?
Yeah, I'm not so sure leaving is the best idea. Honestly, I think I could go another 3 years watching the same movie every night. There are worse things in life. As the survivors leave to go into town, they're immediately incapacitated by the smoke as it takes down the two that had gas masks on. After Coach gets back to real time, South reminds him that there was another time that he tried to leave, and it didn't go well either. Coach was with one of the survivors, and as they try to talk about life before the apocalypse, they believe that better days are coming for sure. Back in the theater, Coach walks in on South doing a routine that involves the popcorn that is provided at the snack bar, which Coach knew someone was dipping into. South isn't happy that his privacy was invaded, but Coach can't just sit back and let South yell at him.
I apologize for living with my mom throughout I apologize for not having sex for 2 straight years.
I don't think anyone wanted to hear that, except maybe his mom, but I'm gonna assume that she's dead now, so no point barking up that tree. South finally opens up and says he wants Coach to apologize for his brother being dead. If it wasn't for South going out and saving Coach, he believes that he'd be able to keep his brother here. In the flashback, Coach is seen intoxicated and trying to tell South's brother that they can't just go outside. When South's brother says that he got a message from another place, he heads out into the void of apocalypse, and he's never heard from again. As time passes, Coach blames himself, and he begins to lose his sanity a little bit at a time. Later on, Coach finds himself in the back room of the theater where he finds a first aid kit, but while he's back there, he hears a transmission come through from Dr. Bonnie.
The outbreak is contained.
Why do I have this weird feeling that this is just a hallucination? She went from screaming in terror about zombies breaking in and all is lost to rejoicing and spreading hope while being underground in what looks like a distillery. That's honestly one way to lift your spirits. After South catches him snooping around and watching the transmission, he ends up starting a fight with Coach that does not go well. Just when Coach looks like he's about to lose it, he lets up and asks South why he would hide something like this from him. Maybe South enjoys watching the same movie over and over. Don't judge him. Once you get used to something, it gets hard to change.
You're not actually gonna leave, are you?
Yeah, they've been locked in this theater for 3 years. I'd say it's definitely time to leave this place. Even though the usher continuously warns them that it's all just a movie, I'd still take some stock in the idea of having a way out of this living hell. Coach leaves South behind, and South turns to the usher to say, "Let's do this." Let's do what? How did he end up lasting there as long as he did? South goes and gets a sniper rifle out of one of the nearby cars. As he posts up, he takes aim at Coach and he waits for the perfect moment. What the hell did I just watch? I better get an explanation here soon.
No.
Seriously, if there was another survivor at this point, I would assume they were waiting just off camera so that they could kill the usher next. Just a never-ending train of death. As South falls to his death, the usher stands there and looks out over all of his domain. As he leaves the theater, he pulls out a map that gives him the location of the survivors. He pulls his bandana up over his nose and heads out into the infectious cloud. As they zoom out and give us a look at the cityscape, the credits begin to roll. After the credits finish, a short scene is added. South's brother really is alive still, and he's almost reached his destination until…
You can't believe everything you see. It's just a movie.
Nice touch. Now I'm wondering if there's any talks about a sequel for this Boston movie made in Boston. This was an interesting one for sure. Of course, zombies are nothing new, but watching these two quickly deteriorate as time passes was really cool to see. I wish they had had more time to fill it with even more story, but for the amount of time it takes, it gave us an interesting take on an old story. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe and help us reach 100,000 before the end of the year. Comment what you think I should watch next, and I'll see you in the next video.